Welcome back to the Hershey Podcast. I am Brandon.
And January.
We had a little break on our countdown. Things are crazy when you're the parents of 6 kids.
We have been working really hard on getting organized and really recovering from a few ridiculous years. But instead of living in that, asking ourselves, what can we do now and where do we want to go, and focusing on that. But at the same time, giving ourselves grace when we need to change our minds or readjust or step back for a second. And so it's kind of that checks and balances of showing up, taking care of responsibilities, getting organized, getting things in order, and also pausing when needed too. Like, you need both. Yes. You can't just do one or the other. You'll suffer, but you need both. So that's what happened there. But now we are only 8 days away from the birth of your book coming out.
8 days.
And I keep getting asked, how do you feel about that? And I don't know how to answer that because I'm feeling everything at once.
Well, yeah. I mean, how could you not?
I'm excited. I'm not like scared, but I'm not nervous either. I think it's the anticipation of it. I feel giddy about it. I feel like, oh, finally. But at the same time, I feel like, oh my gosh, not yet. So it's a very mixed bag of emotions that I'm just allowing myself to feel as I feel it throughout the day.
For me, it's really for 20 years, it's been a goal to be a published author. And this is your book, but I did get to contribute to it.
Yes.
And work on it with you. And
right.
So for me, this is a bit of a dream realized. And so I am so excited. It's ridiculous.
So cool.
I don't know that I'm going to sleep very much the night before, a week from now. I think I'm going to go to sleep very late and wake up very early.
Well, I have 2 things to say about that. And the first is you're officially going to be a published writer.
That
right?
is true. That is true.
So that's amazing.
That is true.
The second thing is that how amazing is it that my stubbornness and my desire for change and my start of a movement helped one of your dreams come into fruition and become reality.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because when we have goals and dreams and we keep working towards them, you just never know how they might come about to be, but they will.
Absolutely.
Right?
The Rock says this all the time. He says you never know be open to how it's going to happen.
Exactly. Just know it is and work towards it. You have to work towards it.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a third thing to add on to that is the night before the book comes out, you and I are going to a concert.
Ah, yes, we are.
So that will help. We did that on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to go see Scars on Broadway, right?
Yep. Darren Malakian, the guitarist of System of a Down.
Yes.
It's his own band. And they're going to be here in Phoenix.
I even have a dress.
Stoked.
I have a dress for it and everything. And we are going to get to go to that concert the night before. And I think that will help both of us just continue to live in the moment.
Yes.
And just enjoy that day, enjoy that night. And then on the 5th, when the book comes out, we're going to go to the bookstore and take video of that for you guys. So
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So from here on out, the next week or 8 days, the episodes are going to be a little longer than 5 minutes because we're going to do a chapter a day.
Yes, we are.
To keep doing what we wanted to do, but stay on track for when the book releases. So,
well, yeah, because we want to give you guys a good little tidbit from each chapter, a little representation of what's in there. Mm-hmm. And still, oh man, I just can't wait for everyone to read this book. It is so good.
I know. Brandon has actually stopped recording a few beginning of episodes over the last few weeks because I read too much because I want to keep reading and give you guys, it's hard to choose what to share, but we're going to do that today. We're on chapter 8. Chapter 8 is when your destination requires a detour. Backup plans without fear. I thought this was really important to add into the book because I have been there where I have a plan. I'm going to have this VBAC. I'm not going to have a backup plan because that means that I don't trust on my body and my baby's ability to birth. And I have found over 6 very unique birth experiences to have a little bit of a different outlook about that. So I'm going to read a few parts. We can discuss them. Okay.
All right.
So this chapter starts out with the quote by me. How cool is that? Life rarely goes as planned. Birth is one of the most unpredictable experiences you will have. Prepare and prepare some more. Then surrender to the journey.
Very good stuff.
Again, making space for both things to prepare, but then also allowing however it unfolds to unfold. You have read everything you can find, researched every type of birth and outcome, spoken with family and friends, interviewed care providers, consulted with your midwife and or OB at every checkup, and made a plan. And that's beautiful and empowering work. Through all of this planning and learning, there's one thing we have to remember. When it comes down to it, birth is unpredictable.
Boy, is it.
So let's talk about that for a second. I feel that birth is one of the most unpredictable experiences I've ever gone through in my life, each and every time.
Oh, absolutely. I think the only other thing I could think of might be death. You think, because I've had 2 parents pass away, and it was very unpredictable how they did. But
isn't that interesting how we always come full circle? When you talk about one, you really can't talk about the other, and that dynamic.
Yeah. Well, beginnings and ends are just, you don't know how they're going to happen, but each birth was so unique and so different. And
so what do you do, right? I mean, you hire the care provider, you have your birth team, you definitely put everything into that birth experience, and it can happen that way. Absolutely. Having a backup plan here, I'll read this part to you. This will help. One of the most empowering things we can do for ourselves is to always be open to learning more. When we make backup birth plans, we are doing just that. We are educating ourselves so we aren't blindsided, trying to take in and process new information when exhausted, right? So when you're in labor, I'm going to just stop there. When you're in labor, and if, things are detouring, you're in labor land, you're exhausted. You're literally working hard to bring a baby onto earth, however you want to put that, earth side, right? That is not the time that you want to try to be learning new things. You want to have already, so even if, when I was planning my VBACs or home birth, I still had a cesarean birth plan, not because I didn't believe in my body's ability to have that VBAC or that birth, but because I didn't want to have any trauma surrounding my birth if detours did happen, if plans did have to change. I wanted my provider and I to still be on the same page if that came up. And so that opened up opportunities to have those discussions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because we learned the hard way with baby number 2 when we went for a home birth.
And that's what it comes down to.
That's all that was going to be for us was a home birth. And then it turned out to be an emergency C-section. So it's like, okay, well, here's our humble pie.
Exactly.
Let's try something, let's be a little bit more prepared in the future. So.
Right. Yeah. We've been in this situation where we did not do what I'm sharing with you guys right now. And I shared in this book. And I know the consequences of that. And I don't want anyone to go through that. Right.
It's like anything. When you see someone who's an expert in something, they're an expert because they at one time were not an expert and they screwed up really bad. We all mess up. We
do
run our mouths, and then it's that humble pie.
So I think backup plans aren't a lack of faith in the birth experience or in our bodies or our minds or our ability. I actually think backup plans can be incredibly empowering.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like that's the perspective I have.
Well, because you're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have your plan A, you have your plan B. Mm-hmm. You may even have your plan C. Yeah, that makes you feel good.
Right. And so if something's coming, it does. And something comes up in labor, your doula can say, oh, well, we discussed this. Let's revisit that. And it's not like brand new in your face. Like you've had this conversation and you can build on that now that you're in labor and you're having a bit of a detour or might need to make some different decisions. I want to share one more little section. This is from Self-Care When Plans Change. So we have self-care sections in every single chapter. It's weaved through the entire book. I mean, what's my name, right?
What is your name?
I'm going to talk about self-care and self-love throughout this entire book. Having a backup plan is good self-care. It's making space for yourself and your baby in an unpredictable world. You can't prepare for everything, but you can prepare to love and trust yourself, honor your feelings, and give yourself time and space to process. Preparing for plans to change doesn't mean you've got an answer to every possible question or have solutions for every potential situation. It means you've made a commitment to yourself. ... I'll leave it there. You can read the rest in the book. But it really is another way of practicing self-care. So I would venture to say having backup plans is self-care.
Absolutely.
Y'all can quote me on that. JANUARYHARSHE. Just kidding. Just kidding. Speaking of, I'm kind of curious to see what words people do pull from this book that really resonate with them. I'm curious to see what we end up seeing floating around on social media or whatever after the book comes out.
It will be interesting.
Right?
It will be interesting to see people's thoughts and
just like what people pull from it and maybe do share in that kind of a style. That'll be really cool. So there's also the partner point of view, just like in every other chapter in this chapter, but we'll leave that be for now. And tomorrow we'll be going into part 3 of the book, which you know how I feel about this section of the book. How do I feel about it?
You feel very, very proud of it.
I feel
very confident in it.
I feel, I would say I feel proud because it's more of like a fist pump, like, yes, getting this information and support in Mama's hands. Yes, yes, yes. Like I wish I had this whole book through my experiences.
Oh my gosh.
But this section, oh gosh, it took me till my sixth kid before I was preparing for postpartum, but then also discussing it. And I realized we weren't discussing it anywhere in any spaces, even with social media, not a lot, not in any big ways. So I am really looking forward to diving into part 3, taking back postpartum tomorrow and for the remainder of the week leading up to the book coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
It's awesome. All right, you guys. Until next time.
Adios.
Love ya.